Mightyena puts in the absolute work in today's battle. You're not going to want to miss this. How's it going, guys? Welcome back to another Pokemon Scarlet and Violet Wi-Fi battle. Today we're having a battle versus Pokemaster from the Discord server in the OU tier. Looking at their team, pretty powerful stuff. And then the Grafaiai stands out. I really like to see that Pokemon. The Pheasantipity, I said it right again, is looking good. But really we're focusing on Mightyena today, and hopefully Mightyena can put in some work. Probably won't, and it'll probably be something else at the start of this video for the clip, but you know... It is what it is. So I'm looking at their team and I'm thinking they lead off with either the Grafaiai or they counteract our Mamoswine lead, which is up Stealth Rocks, with the Vaporeon, or they might lead with Dragapult as well. Dragapult's a good lead. Dragapult is a good lead, but Mamoswine actually puts in the work here, so I'm leaning towards a Milotic lead because there's nothing on the team that really threatens it. So we can go Milotic lead, we can flip turn on whatever they lead on with, and then we can go from there. But that Dragapult, I'm coming for you with my Mightyena. And the battle begins, so Pokemaster's gonna lead off with Grafaiai. I did kind of say Grafaiai would be a lead, didn't I? So that's absolutely fine. If they want to Toxic my Milotic, it's not the biggest deal. I mean, realistically, I should just hard switch into Corviknight right now, but I don't know what they're gonna do. So I'm gonna go for a flip turn, because they might withdraw, which they have withdrawn. So now we get some momentum. So it's a good job I stayed and went for the flip turn. They do go into the Pheasantipity. The Rank Master, looking good. We go for a flip turn, and we're going to get on out of here. So this thing is a Fairy Poison type, if I remember correctly. In which case, we can definitely take it out with the likes of the Mamoswine. We can go for an EQ. Nothing on the team other than the Yanmega wants to take an EQ. And you know, Yanmega don't want to take an Icicle Spear. So, we could go into Mamoswine, make the ballsy play of going for the Icicle Spear straight up. That could be a good shout. I think I will do that. I'm going to go Mamoswine. Manny's going to come in right now. And what we want to do is we want to weaken some of their Pokemon, because Mightyena with the Quick Feet ability and Toxic Orb outspeeds everything on their team, barring the Dragapult if it's Jolly or Timid. But most Dragapults are actually run Adamant or Modest at the moment because they still outspeed everything in the tier. So I'm going to go for the Icicle Spear first, because I'm expecting a Yanmega switch here, or a Vaporeon potentially. There's the Vaporeon. So Vaporeon confirmed it is a physically defensive wall, otherwise they wouldn't have switched it in on an EQ. We go for the Icicle Spear, expecting Yanmega to come in, and we are probably going to hit 4 or 5 times thanks to the load of dice. Hopefully it's the 5 times with the maximum damage output, as it is 5 times, which is great. So Vaporeon is going to get hit by that. Now, I can't remember whether Vaporeon gets Flip Turn or Scald, because I haven't faced a Vaporeon in such a long time. So I'm going to have to make a hard switch, and I'm going to go into Milotic once again. Milotic once again, just to wall it, basically. If they might go for a flip turn, but again, nothing on the team super threatening to Milotic, other than the Dragapult if it's physical, because we are specially defensive. So Milotic comes in. We can definitely take any hit from this thing. If it does get a flip turn, that's pretty cool. I like Vaporeon with a flip turn. That's awesome. Again, though, not too threatened by their team with my Milotic, so I could easily go for a flip turn again. They could bring the Vaporeon in just to flip turn once again, but I don't think they will. In comes the Arcanine of all things. So I'm going to guess this thing's going to be Tera Electric. Oh, they got the Intimidate off, which boosts our special attack. We're competitive. Let's go. That's awesome. So if this thing's Tera Electric with Wild Charge, which I'm suspecting it is by the way they've brought it in on a Milotic, we should probably get out of here. Problem is, I don't know what to go into. So I'm thinking Mamoswine. This could end up poorly for us, by the way, because if they go for Terra Fighting close combat, or just Choice Banded close combat in general, it's going to sting. But I don't think they would do that, because that's a risk. Yeah, I thought so. Wild Charge comes through. Now, there's a good chance that if it's got Wild Charge, it's probably going to be a Choice Banded variant, pretty much is what I'm trying to say. So let's go for that EQ real quick. We can take a Flare Blitz because of the Thick Fat, and they are locked in because they've switched out. They would have probably stayed in and gone for a, you know, but they're going to go into the Yanmega. So Yanmega comes in. Yanmega comes in. This thing is terrifying. We go for the EQ. It's not going to affect the Yanmega. So he read me like a book there, but it's fine. We can still handle this, no problem, with something else. If they're gonna go for a Giga Drain, which I suspect they might, we don't know whether they're Tinted Lens or whether or not they're Speed Boost yet. So we're going to play it pretty cautiously here. I'm going to go back into Milotic here. Now, they are going to make a switch of their own. What are they going to go into? The Arcanine? Vaporeon, the Sinnoh champion, comes in. So, Vaporeon comes back in. There's a lot of back and forth here. So, we withdraw our Mamoswine into our Milotic. Both of these Pokemon pretty much wall each other. But that tells me they don't have Giga Drain on the Mega. Plus, we could be Focus Sash on the Mamoswine, so they probably didn't want to risk it. So, in theory, I should have gone for an Icicle Spear there, but it doesn't matter because it wouldn't have done anything to the Vaporeon anyway. So, anyway, this is the situation we're currently in. What can we do here? I don't know if they get Scald. They probably Flip Turn on us, and they probably outspeed us. So maybe I don't have any speed investment in the Milotic. It's a sassy nature, and it's got 0 speed IVs, just so that we can always get the slow Flip Turn. I'm pretty sure Vaporeon outspeeds us, so if we assume they're going to go either for a... If they go for a Calm Mind, it's going to be tough to take this thing out. Let's go for a Flip Turn and hope they go for a Flip Turn of their own. They do go for a Flip Turn of their own, which is going to do diddly squat to us, which is great. And now we get a Flip Turn off on whatever they bring in. Whatever they bring in, we get a Flip Turn off. So we're going to get a bit of momentum here, which is great. In comes Grafaiai. So Grafaiai is an interesting one. So nice and shiny as well. I didn't say that earlier, but nice and shiny. Gonna love it. Go for a Flip Turn, get a bit of damage off on the Grafaiai, and then we're going to switch out into something to take care of this thing. Now, I'm leaning towards Mightyena because it's a Dark type and they can't Prankster us. I am leaning towards Mightyena right now. But if they go for a U-turn, it's going to sting. Unless we Terra Normal. If we Terra Normal, we're pretty much screwed because we can't do it. Yeah, so I'm looking at that team. I'm thinking, if we go into Mightyena and go for a Facade, Vaporeon's going to come in and eat it up like it's nothing. So what we need to do is, I'm leaning towards Mamoswine or Dragapult. I don't want to get Thunder Wave though. I think I will go Mightyena here. And this is where we can bring Mightyena in. Smeargle Art. Shout out to Smeargle Artist for joining the stream all the time. Pretty awesome. Anyway, we have got the Toxic now. We can go for a Terra Normal Facade, but that will make us susceptible to Prankster moves. Or we can just go straight for the Facade outright. Now, I think Vaporeon's coming in. I just kind of want to see how much damage it does, So they do withdraw the Grafaiai. What are they going to bring in? Are they bringing in the Arcanine with the Intimidate? The Arcanine with the Intimidate comes in, but it's still chip damage at the end of the day. So it's not too bad. Intimidate comes through. We go for a Facade. It's 140 base power move. It still does a nice bit of chip damage, to be fair. Now, we obviously outspeed the Arcanine. We could go for another one. But I don't want it because A, it's not going to KO. And B, we have a Dragapult right here who is immune to close combat and resistant to Flare Blitz and Wild Charge. And immune to an extreme speed. Pretty much Dragapult walls this Arcanine. If it's choice banned, Flare Blitz will still sting. It will still sting. But we can take it. Yeah, it does half, which is fine. Gets the burn, so it's a good job with specs because that burn could have been terrifying. So anyway, they're going to get some recoil damage, which is great because it means it's now weakened in preparation for Mightyena. I'm leaning towards Shadow Ball. I'm also leaning towards U-turn. Pheasantipity is probably going to come in, but I'm thinking, just go straight for the basic attack. Because I feel like he's going to expect me to go for a U-turn here. And then go for another Flare Blitz. So I'm going to go for the Shadow Ball and get the KO, hopefully. They do withdraw the Arcanine. And they probably go into the Pheasantipity right now. Or the Vaporeon. Pheasantipity comes in. Which is a specially defensive monster, by the way. We go for a Shadow Ball. And at the end of the day, it's chip damage. It forces a Roost, potentially. There we go. Nice and powerful. They do have leftovers, as we saw earlier. Instead of Black Sludge, which tells me they could potentially Terra this. Because you wouldn't carry Black Sludge on a Pokemon that you're going to Terra. It just wouldn't work out very nicely for you. So, if we expect a beat up here, because I've been seeing Toxic Chain beat up a lot, we should definitely go into Corviknight. Corviknight doesn't get Toxic. It doesn't care about this Pheasantipity. Then we go for a U-turn on it. And Noctis, just like Milotic, is 0 IV in speed and a relaxed nature. So they do go for a U-turn, expecting the switch. We get some Rocky Helmet chip, which is nice. Now the Mightyena and the Arcanine are primed and ready for Mightyena to come in. The Pheasantipity and the Arcanine are primed and ready for the Mightyena to come in. We just need to weaken that Vaporeon, really, and we're golden. So in comes the Dragapult. So this thing's probably special, based on the way they've brought it in. So we've got a couple of options. We could Tera Dragon, resistant to the Flamethrower, and go for a U-turn. We could outright go for a U-turn anyway, expecting them to go for a move that's going to be... I think they're special, by the way they've brought it in. So I'm going to go into Milotic. Milotic is my specially defensive Pokemon for the team. And hopefully he's going to put in work here by walling this Dragapult into oblivion. So Milotic comes in, nice and shiny, gotta love it. They go for a Shadow Ball, and we are going to eat that up like it's nothing, surely. That's Specs, though. That's definitely Specs, because that did way too much damage. So just like me, they've got Specs Dragapult, which is fair enough. It's good set. It's good set. So I've got a couple of options. I can expect the Vaporeon to make the double. I can go for a Recover, or if they're not Specs, which I think they are, we could go for a we could expect a U-turn. Now I kind of want to. I'm leaning towards Recover because we don't want to go for a flip turn because they just bring the Vaporeon and it walls us to oblivion. So I'm actually half tempted to make the double here and go Yanmega. Yanmega could be Yanmega's time to shine here. If we can get a speed boost up, that's gonna be nice. Do we do that? Yeah, let's go Yanmega. I think they're gonna go oh, they didn't switch. They didn't switch. That's not good. So they've either gone for a Draco, a U-turn, or they haven't switched. Or they go for another Shadow Ball. They expected us to do this, but we lived on 5 HP. Wow. Yanmega actually lived that, so that's not Specs. There's no way that's Specs. So we go for a Protect here. There we go. Protecting ourselves. They go for a Shadow Ball, and that does nothing, obviously, because of the Protect. But it's fine. We have the Speed Boost, right? Yes, we do have the Speed Boost. I thought Speed Boost would kick in the first turn, but I guess not. It's fine. We can deal with it. So Yanmega doesn't look like it's doing much this game. We are Terrifier for the Corviknights, but it's not really doing much for us this game. So let's go for an Air Slash just to get some damage off. So they do withdraw the Dragapult. What are they going to go into? Serendipity? That's not a bad one. Let's see how much his Air Slash does. Is it enough to get a second KO after leftovers? I don't think so. Really don't think so. And they probably go for a Roost here. So if we expect them to go for a Roost, we should go for a Bug Buzz, activate our Throat Spray. I'm going to go for the Bug Buzz and activate the Throat Spray. I think that's probably the best move to go for. It doesn't do anything to it, but like I said, it activates the Throat Spray, lowers their special defense, which is key. And I'm expecting them to go for a Roost here. And if they don't Roost and they attack us, this thing's prime for Mightyena. So they go for a U-turn, taking out the Yanmega, which is unfortunate. Yanmega didn't get to do much this game. But if they did Roost there, we could have got a nice and powerful Air Slash off on that Serendipity. A minus special defense and a plus special attack. Could have been monstrous. Could have been monstrous. So in comes Grafaiai. And we know what this means, right? We get a free Facade off, which is great. Because I don't think they'll switch Dragapult into a potential Sucker Punch. They definitely switch out. But to what? Let's go for a Facade again and see what they do. They might they might predict us. You know, Dragapult coming in is pretty obvious on a Facade. So I don't think they'll go Dragapult. I've got a feeling. They do withdraw the Grafaiai because it can't Prankster us because we're a Dark type. And they go into Serendipity to sack it off. So Mightyena getting a KO right now. What a lad. What a brilliant... I say what a brilliant Pokemon, but Mightyena is not a brilliant Pokemon at all. But we bring the Mightyena anyway because... I don't know, I feel like Mightyena's would be fun to use, you know? It's a cool Pokemon, really cool design. In comes the Arcanine. So this thing is interesting. So it's going to get an Intimidate off. We could Terra Normal here, but I'm not going to do that. I think they go for a Flare Blitz, so I'm leaning towards Lycanroc switch. I'm also leaning towards the Milotic switch, but I'm also leaning towards Corviknight. Because at the end of the day, if they go for a Flare Blitz, they're going to lose all that health. I'm going to go Dragapult. I don't think they go for Flare Blitz here. I think they go for a Close Combat or an Extreme Speed or a Wild Charge. One of the three. I don't think they go for a Flare Blitz. If they do go for a Flare Blitz, then I'm going to eat my own sock. They do go for a Flare Blitz, despite the recoil damage potential. And Dragapult goes down. But we did get some vital recoil damage on the Arcanine, which is great. So what we can do now is... we can go back into Mightyena and just go straight for a Facade. And it should take out the Arcanine from here. And failing that, you know, let's go for a facade. Let's just do it. Let's just do the facade. Get it out of the way. If they go Dragapult, we go for a Sucker Punch and KO them. Facade comes through. Takes out the Arcanine. So that's 2 KOs for Mightyena. 2. 2 of them. And now, the biggest threat to our Corviknight is now out of the way. So we are looking good right now. Vaporeon comes in, and I think it's time. I really think it's time we start seeing what kind of damage output Mightyena is going to have. I'm not, you know, I'm really leaning towards not doing that. The reason I don't want to do it is because that Sucker Punch could be really useful for the Dragapult later, or the Yanmega if the Yanmega gets some speed boosts. It could be really useful. So I think I'm going to go hard into Milotic right now. I'm so happy Mightyena got 2 KOs. What a success. You know, Mightyena deserves to be in that thumbnail now. It really deserves to be in that thumbnail. So Scold comes through. It might burn us, which is fine. We do get burned, which is unfortunate. Now, they saw that we outsped them earlier. No, they saw that they outsped us earlier. So I doubt they'll go for a flip turn here. They either stay in to get the water absorb from my flip turn and go for another Scold, or a Calm Mind or a Wish. We've seen Scold and flip turn though, so we know they're going to have Wish more than likely, right? So, what's our options for this thing? Not a lot. If only we had Yanmega or Dragapult around. Terra Normal Mightyena isn't going to do too much here. I do think they stay in and go for a Wish, though. I really do. So I'm leaning towards Corviknight right now, and then I go for a slow U-turn. That's what I'm leaning towards. If we expect them to go for a flip turn, they're going to get some Rocky Helmet chip, which will help later on down the line. If they do go for a Wish, it's not the end of the world. They go for a flip turn, which is great for us because it means we're going to get some Rocky Helmet chip on that Vaporeon. And this Vaporeon is going to be the toughest thing to break on Pokémaster's team, to be honest with you. But Mightyena can't do it. Mightyena is not strong enough to do that. It's just not. Dragapult comes in, which is terrifying, to be honest with you. Pretty scared of this thing. I think they go for a Shadow Ball, expecting the Milotic to come in. So I'm just going to go for a Roost first, just to scout, because if we think it's Specs, then we want to be able to, you know, have some health back before we go into Milotic. So they are going to Terra. What type is it going to be? Ghost? Ghost. So Ghost type Terra is, well, terrifying, to say the least. They go for a Shadow Ball, which Milotic probably wouldn't have been able to take 2 of if it's Terra. And that does a lot of damage. It's a lot of damage. So that does more than we can heal with Roost, unfortunately. Which means we're going to have to lose Corviknight here. Do we need Corviknight for much? Not really. Let's go for a U-turn just in case it don't KO again. There we go. Shadow Ball comes through. And they're probably thinking, right, he's going to bring the Mightyena in. Mightyena's going to come in. And Mightyena's going to basically just go for a Sucker Punch, right? So they either switch out or they don't. We're Terra Normal, though. So if they're locked in to Shadow Ball right now, we can go for a Crunch, get some chip damage off on whatever they switch in, if they do. So I think Crunch is the option here. So they do withdraw the Dragapult as expected. They're not wanting to get hit by a Sucker Punch, which is fair enough. In comes Grafaiai, the Rank Master. They can't Thunder Wave us because we're already poisoned. So now we're going to get a nice and powerful Crunch off, Stab Crunch from a Mightyena, which is great. We do outspeed the Grafaiai because of the Quick Feet. So we can go straight for a Facade the next turn, which is fantabulous. There's also a good chance that they're Modest Dragapult and we still outspeed with Mightyena anyway. Crunch gets a crit and we take out the Grafaiai. Mightyena coming through right now. What an absolute legend that is. Yanmega comes in. This thing is terrifying. That's for sure. We definitely switch out here into the Milotic. Milotic probably can't take 2 attacks from this thing. But alas, we're going to try our best. So Yanmega has some decent physical bulk, which is why I didn't stay in a Facade. Because I'm going to need Mightyena for that Dragapult, that's for sure. So Air Slash comes through, does nothing. And they are going to reveal they aren't what set I thought they would be. They aren't the speed boost one by the looks of it, unless they get speed boost after this burn. They are speed boost, so that's terrifying. They probably go for a Giga Drain here, or a switch into Vaporeon, so I'm going to go for the Ice Beam. They go for another Air Slash, which is fine. It's going to do minimal damage to us. We get a nice and powerful Ice Beam off, which should do a lot to the Yanmega. There we go, nicely done. And we let the Mightyena come in and Sucker Punch this thing, that's for sure. So there we go. We're going to go down to the next Air Slash, that's for sure. They get another speed boost. Once again, though, we can go for a Sucker Punch with Mightyena this next turn. We're unfortunately not going to be able to get to finish this battle, but I am very happy with the outcome. Mightyena got 3 KOs. Granted, they weren't OU Pokemon. They were Arcanine, you know, Grafaiai, and of course, the one and only Bezendipity. But it's fine. Let's go Mightyena real quick. We haven't got enough time to do this, but Mightyena put in the work this game. I don't care what anyone says. If anyone tells me I'm clickbaiting with this title, that Mightyena does like madness in OU, you know what? Watch this video again and tell me with a straight face. GG Pokemaster, that was a really fun one. Always a pleasure battling Pokemaster. Always get a good battle out of him. Thank you very much. But anyway, here's the team. If you want to try it out, use the code at the top right corner of the screen. Thank you so much for watching today's video. If you did enjoy, of course, leave a like, subscribe, all that wonderful stuff. And with that being said, I'll see you all in a bit.